Hey, I'm Shannon from Shannon Talks Yarn, and today I'm coming to you from my camper. You might have seen this lately in a video I did where I showed you a bunch of the crochet I've got in here. Well, today I'm not going to be talking about my camper at all. I'm going to be talking about the Sweater Make-Along 2023 that I'm currently in, but haven't participated in for a few months, and I am really glad to say I am back at it again. There are a few other collaborators in this. We have got Olivia from Fiber Fun with Olivia. We have got Carrie Penny, the Happy Crafty Homemaker. We have got Connie from Connie's Crafty Corner, and we have got Ella from No Catching Aim Crochet. And this has been a really fun collab, but I have been struggling, and I almost feel that I have let down my group of collaborators because I'm definitely a smaller channel, so to be given an opportunity to be in a collab with a couple larger channels is really amazing, and I'm so thankful and grateful for that opportunity. But the past 2 months, I have not produced any content for this collab, and I felt pretty crappy about it. I was really struggling. I don't think it's a bad pattern at all. I think the pattern is good. I think I possibly did not choose the best choice of yarn. The last video I did was where I was getting ready to assemble it, and I had kind of mocked it up and put it on, and I just could not get past the way it felt on. I am definitely a person who needs to be comfortable a lot of the time. It just felt like bunched up kind of in the armpit area, and like it was like touching me too much on my neck, and it kind of weirded me out. So I don't think it was the best choice of yarn. I think that even though my yarn claimed to be a 4-weight, it really wasn't. So I think that affected it, and there wasn't quite as much stretch. It might just be that for somebody with my body shape, it just wasn't the best choice. I mean, I'm petite, like I'm short, and I'm not super wide, but I'm not the thinnest girl, and I'm definitely top heavy. So it's just one of those situations where I don't know if it was just too much like fabric panels, like just too much all up in here getting all bunched up. I abandoned it, and I didn't know what to do. So I feel like, much like a lot of other situations in life, when you're really struggling and you feel that anxiety setting in, it might be that you're just paying too much attention to yourself in this scenario. And I decided I needed to take the focus off of myself and start a different sweater for someone else. You might just need to break the cycle and move on to something completely different. I am going to be having some family visitors come, and one of the ladies that's going to be here has a 5 or 6 year old granddaughter. We've met her, we got to spend time with her last Christmas, and she is just a delightful child. I had made up a little scarf for her when she was here at Christmas time, but I don't know, I thought it would be fun to make her something else, and I thought this would be the perfect opportunity. If you saw some of my videos pre-county fair, I had done this, I think it was called like a candy bonbon hat or something like that. It was from Bag A Day, and I really liked it, but the yarn I used, this seems to be a theme. The yarn I used claimed to be a 4-weight, but it was definitely more of a 3. So when I finished the hat, it was super cute, but I would not call it adult size. Like, it was definitely kid size. So I had just in my mind, I was like, oh, I'll give this to, you know, to this child. But I had 2 skeins of this yarn left, and I thought, she's tiny, I won't need that much, so I'm gonna do one of those shrugs. If you saw my fair video, it was one of these little bolero shrugs, the Granny Square Shrugs, that had gotten one of the 2 best in shows for crochet. And also lately I saw Alt Knots talking about making some with some Halloween yarn, and so it just was like, boom, let's do that. I've made a couple for children children before. I've never made an adult size one. I will say, doing this, the way that it hangs, if you are an adult, you will need a lot more yarn than you think you do, unless you only want it to be a bolero. Like if you want it to be like a longer cocoon shape, like where you can, like I like things to be able to like pull over my tummy area like that, you would definitely need a lot more yarn for it. So I've got about right about 400 yards of yarn in this project. I know my video for this might end up being a little bit choppy. We are camping this weekend. It is our maiden voyage. It's like a test run to see how the camper did. And if you haven't seen that video, I will put a link to it so you can see all the cool crochet I've got in here. But we came to a town that's like under 10 miles away. It isn't like in the woods. This is a small campground. It's in town pretty much, but there are some trees and it's just great for us to get away. But as you can tell, it's a little warm in here. I had to shut the air conditioner off in order to film and get some good audio. So I'm just kind of taking photos and taking video when I can. And that's why some of the photos aren't going to be like super professional looking either. This is where we are. And hopefully when I get home, I will have this project done and I can do a couple photos. I won't be putting a photo of the little girl in this, just because number one, I respect their privacy, and you know, she's not my child, so I don't have the authority to put her on here. But also, this will be going up by before they're here. So it wouldn't even work out for the gal to give this to her granddaughter. It just wouldn't work out in time for this video to go up. I am pretty happy with how this is turning out so far. I have started, I don't want to pull this out, but I have started working on the neckline up here, and you can see it's just, it's cute. This has got some pink and some purple and a gold metallic in here. I've had this yarn for a couple years. I got it at a Hobby Lobby sale. But, I couldn't really find the right project for it, but I happen to know this gal. She does love her pinks and purples. So I just thought this would be cute, and it's not like overly childish because it does have, some tans and some cream and some gray in there. But I think it will work out well for this little gal. What my plan is to go ahead and keep going around the opening of the shrug here, and I'm doing double crochets up here. I believe I'm going to turn these into front post double crochets. You just make a giant granny square for this, and then you sew up the edges. You like pull them down diagonally, and so I will actually add on a little bit more and elongate this sleeve. My plan at this point is to possibly, even though I had added some single crochets after these granny squares, I might add some more granny stitches, or I might just continue. Maybe I could do the ribbing. I don't know. We'll see. I have plenty of this Hirschner's Afghan yarn. I do love this. I love this yarn so much, and it's so soft compared to what it used to be. So here is my update, and I probably will get back on tomorrow morning and give you a little bit more of an update of what I've accomplished in the meantime. But again, I am just so thankful for this opportunity to be in the collab with these gals. They're extremely talented. Like, I kind of feel like I am the weak link of this group because they're so good. And when I went to these gals, we have a little group chat going for this collab, and I was just like, guys, I don't know what I'm doing. And they were so kind and reassuring, and we're just like, you know what, we all have problems too. It's not always easy, and it really, really warmed my heart because I was starting to feel like, I was just lost or didn't know what I was doing. Like, we all doubt ourselves sometimes. I'm just, again, so thankful to be part of this, and I will have this one done for this, and then we'll still have a couple months to go. So I think I am going to I'm not going back to the original sweater. I'm not. I think I have an idea. I might want to do some, like, I would call it a Halloween inspired cardigan, but I don't know. I'm working on the details. I'm still like trying to figure it all out in my head. Well, last night did not go super well. We did not get much sleep. I didn't get as much done on my cardigan as I wanted. I did get all of the ribbing upon like the opening of it done. And I'm very pleased with that. But I only got one sleeve started. I'm going to try to do the same ribbing on that. But my poor dog, we have not been camping in 4 years. He is 10 right now. So, you know, that's not quite half his life, but almost. We had gone a lot when he was younger, but he was so anxious and he was not good. At home, he sleeps in a kennel in our room and does really, really great. We brought a kennel and it did not go well. Like, he was just pacing and pacing and pacing. And I mean, there was barely enough room, but he was finding a way. And honestly, the camper was like shaking. So I let him out, and like I said, he doesn't normally sleep free. So he was walking all over. Yeah, it just was not a super great night. So it was super duper late when we got to bed, and then it was pretty early when we got up. So I feel a little rough. I look a little rough. It was not really, you know, the first outing I had really wanted it to be, but like I said, I brought my crochet and I'm happy about that. And you know, I think it's just a good example. You just can't plan for everything. So I didn't get my sweater finished before we left the campsite. We did leave early, and I got home. It's currently 10 hours later than it was when I spoke with you the last time. And I have taken a nap, I've gotten cleaned up, I ate some leftover pizza, and finished my sweater. So it did help that it's a child size, getting it done. This pattern is super easy. It isn't even really a pattern. I will go ahead and link the video that I first watched the very first time I made one of these, and it's by the Snugglery. But once you get it, basically the idea of it, and understand where you need to put your seams for the sleeves, it is super easy, and you really don't need a pattern at all. Big takeaway from this is you're going to need a lot more yarn than you think you do if you are an adult. And you know, the shrug itself is quite a bit smaller once it's folded up. So something to take into consideration. Also the shape of it, you know, it is a little more bulky in the midsection. So if that's not something you like, this might not be the perfect cardigan for you. I am super happy with how this turned out, and I think this little gal will really like it. I really like the ribbing I did around it with those half double crochets. I think it just gives it a little more texture and just makes it look a little more upscale. I'm sorry, the front post double crochets. I think that just gives it more texture and you know, a little more high-end look to it. So I also like, even though I didn't have enough yarn to do the whole thing, I like the gray border around the edge. I think it just makes it a little more sophisticated, even though it's going to a little girl again. And it just, like I said, makes it a little more high-end. I hope you enjoyed this sweater vlog. I have enjoyed being a part of this sweater make-along 2023 challenge. And again, I can't say how much I really appreciate the other gals in this collab. They have been so kind to me. me, and I'm really looking forward to seeing how their sweaters are coming along. We should have another one next month, and I will have links here to the prior videos and also their channel so you can check out their progress as well. This is not a form-fitting pattern. And I made my granny square, at which point I ran out of my 400 yarns of yarn. I went through with my Afghan yarn. It was slightly smaller in weight, but it still worked well. And I did a row of granny stitches still in that new color, just so that it wouldn't just be the seams that were the solid gray. I wanted it to blend more. After I got that round done, I went ahead and I did 2 rows of single crochets around the whole thing. At this point, I went ahead and folded it into the center and sewed my arm together, and I just eyeballed where I wanted the armholes to be based on how big, or I should say how little this child is. Then I used just my yarn needle and thread to sew those up. At this point, I went ahead and worked on the neckline. I did a row of single crochets and then 2 rounds of front post double crochets followed by 1 row of single crochet. I did the exact same thing on the sleeve holes. So 1 round of double crochet, 2 rounds of front post double crochet, and 1 single crochet, and then I just sewed the ends in. Thanks for talking yarn with me.